to Storyboard. I'm Shubhani Gharat. FMCG major ITC's brand Savlon has a new ambassador. But the new face of the brand is actually a hand. Yes, you heard that right. Savlon's new hand ambassador is none other than Sachin Tendulkar. In a conversation with Storyboard18's Dilshad Irani, Sameer Satpathy, who is ITC's personal care division CEO, tells us more about the new hand ambassador and the campaign and ITC's focus and investments in higher order cause marketing.
Hello and welcome to Storyboard18, Sameer. I'm delighted to have you on the show.
Same here, Dilshad. Good to see you again.
So let's just kick off with talking about the latest addition to this long-running campaign that you have with Savlon. Can we talk a little bit about, what was the genesis of this latest edition and what was the rationale behind bringing Sachin Tendulkar on board?
See, communicable diseases and preventable diseases can easily be prevented if you wash your hands. Unfortunately, not everybody does that, and unfortunately not at all times. The COVID had brought new consciences to people in terms of how disease could be spread from hands. But I think some of them have linked it only to COVID and not to everything else. So we felt there was a need to refresh and go back and to consumers and talk to them about hand hygiene all over again from a fresh slate. And we said we needed something a little dramatic to bring it back, literally back into their consciousness. I think that was the starting point. And having Sachin on board, I mean, he's got stature, he's got credibility, he cuts through everywhere, everybody gets it. And he personally, I think what we really liked was he personally was committed to this cause and had already been doing work in this area.
How has the journey been for you to see this grow, say, from brief to where it is now? And in terms of the highlights, but in terms of measurable impact, what are the key highlights there for you?
I think for us, I think it's as a company, we've always been triple bottom line focused. So we are always looking for things which moved and society in the right manner. And over the years, this was India is a country where hygiene can be a challenge in some parts of the country. The hygiene habits need to be inculcated, and we had zeroed on to children a long time back. We felt that is a place where if we can teach them with the combination, with the help of the school and with the help of their parents, these are lifelong habits, and this would make a positive change to society. So over the years, I think we are there in 25,000 odd schools, and we've been to there and around 8 million children. So it's a large number. But looking at India's population, I think there's still a lot to be done.
Campaigns that are driven by higher order causes, perhaps how you measure their success is also different. How has that evolved over time? And specifically in terms of a business impact, we are, of course, seeing how we can link purpose to profits. So has your view of how you see the success of such campaigns changed in terms of the business impact as well? Can we talk a little bit about that?
No, I think it comes from, I think there's an old saying that for a believer, no proof is necessary. And for a non-believer, no proof is enough. Right? And what we have always believed is that if you do well for society at large, if you do well for people, it comes back. It comes back because consumers resonate with it. And that's been something which we have done very consistent. And you have to be consistent, obviously, and consumers take this very positively. So the linkage is there, but it is not as mathematical as some people may like it to be. But I think it's like a reputation, right? If you have a good reputation, your company has a good reputation, your brand has a good reputation, the probability is very high that more people would want to engage with you than less people.
Final question to you. What's your outlook for the year going forward? We're seeing sort of, global economic pressures. There's inflation worries. Even something like post-COVID trauma, for instance, and sentiment seems to be a little muted. What is your outlook going forward?
I think there are many Indias out there. Um, but what's common in all the Indias is value-seeking behavior. So that has not gone away. It has always been there, and it's only become stronger. So consumers, even whether you're rich or you're poor, if you are rich, you might go to e-commerce and buy a super-sized pack, which gives you efficiency. If you are maybe not that affording, you might go to the local kirana shop and buy the 10 rupee product because you still get access to the category. So we are seeing both the behaviors, but the fact still is driven by value. So in good times and not so good times, Indian consumers do look for value, and as marketers, as brand owners, I think we are very conscious and we have to keep maintaining that. So that's one part of it. We have all learned and we have all been taught is to be flexible, keep the first principles close, keep your focus on execution, and there will be some roadblocks, there will be some hiccups. I think you try to maneuver around that and get on with it. So yes, keep the horizon, one eye on it, but don't get too perturbed because it might change.
It is time for a short break. On the other side, we have Ashwin Moorthy, Chief Marketing Officer, India, Godrej Consumer Products Limited, joining us. Welcome back. You're watching Storyboard. Godrej Consumer Products Limited recently launched the world's lowest cost liquid mosquito repellent device and a no-gas mosquito kill spray. The company said it is targeting over 100 million households that use the smoke-intensive, local and often illegal insecticide-dipped incense sticks instead of liquid vaporizers or aerosols. I caught up with Ashwin Moorthy, Chief Marketing Officer, India, Godrej Consumer Products Limited, on what is the strategy to take these innovations to these households, how is GCPL re-evaluating its marketing strategy while managing macroeconomic challenges, and how are they shaping their campaigns while holding the core value of the brands from ages. Ashwin, welcome to CNBC TV18.
Thanks for having me here, Shubhani.
Ashwin, so this year has begun with two exciting launches from GCPL. One is the low-cost mosquito repellent machine, and the other one is a mosquito spray without gas.
Yep.
Can you tell us more about these two launches, and how do you intend to, I believe the focus is on low-income households with these products. So how do you intend to reach to these households over the next few weeks, months, and this year?
Thanks, Shubhani. I think, when we looked at the mosquito insecticides category from the consumer's lens, two of the largest categories in mosquito repellents are liquid vaporizer and aerosol sprays. But what we realized is that these two solutions were primarily accessible to urban India, or generally upper middle income to middle income consumers in general. And when we went down and met lower income consumers, we realized there were about 100 million odd consumers who didn't use either of these two formats, but had the same issues. They wanted a good night's sleep that was mosquito free, they have high infestation, and they wanted instant kill to clear their rooms. And then we realized what they were using an alternative, they were burning things like coils or incense sticks. And many of the incense sticks are actually illegal. They are agarbattis dipped in insecticides that aren't really regulated. So both from a perspective of consumer safety and of access, we had to innovate and bring both these categories at a price point that they'll be able to afford. And then we realized, when we looked at both of these products that we have, so in liquid vaporizer, there's a product called Good Night Gold Flash, which is the top-selling liquid vaporizer across India. We realized that this machine had a dual mode. And the reason for the dual mode is, when urban homes, infestation tends not to be high throughout the night. There are periods when there are high levels of mosquitoes, and then we tend to shut the windows, put on the fan and sleep. So you don't need a standard high level of insecticide released through the night. We realized that consumers in lower income households did not really need that. They tend to sleep with the windows open. So there is a kind of a regular mosquito infestation that goes through the night. So the reason why you can give a dual mode is because there's a chip inside, it's an electrical circuit. We removed that. We also removed the plastic. So there are certain cosmetic features of the Urban Flash, which is it covers the, when the refill is put in, it covers that part. We removed it because we said, look, this is may not be as necessary to consumers who want to access the benefit. So we reduced the plastic, we removed the chip, we simplified the device, and we were able to halve the price at which we could give it to consumers. Thereby really kind of expanding the access that they got. Similarly, with the aerosol spray, globally aerosols are one of the biggest formats for mosquito repellent. And then we realized that the reason for aerosol sprays to have pressurized cylinders and LPG propelled sprays is because they cover large rooms. So when you want to spray, you have a large room, you want to spray the insecticide and cover the entire room, you need something to propel it. But these consumers who had relatively smaller rooms did not need that area of coverage. So we learned from the deodorants business, which has done quite a big value disruption on adopting water-based spray. And then we realized that if you removed the pressurized cylinder and you removed the LPG propellant, you could actually give consumers really high quality, safe insecticide at a spread that works for them, and you halved the price. So we removed the price, we moved it down from the mid hundreds to 50 rupees for a month protection.
And now, the launch has happened, but comes the part where, it has to reach as many households that you intend to take it to. So what are the challenges when it comes to creating awareness or spreading awareness of a product like this? Because all said and done, like even in rural households or, many semi-urban areas or low-income households, as you mentioned yourself, they use products like incense sticks to do away with the mosquitoes.
There are many stores which do not keep these formats. They don't keep the Goodnight Gold Flash, they don't keep the hit aerosol sprays because they were just too high and they didn't have the demand. So what these packs at 50 rupees each give us the ability to is to access these stores in the first place. So these are stores that keep incense sticks, that keep coils, but they don't keep these products. And now we can reach stores. So the first is to leverage our physical distribution that we have because we're a fairly large soaps business of scale to be able to reach these outlets so consumers have physical access to these products. The second is on building mental availability. So both these price points will be advertised, and we're also going to be investing in rural marketing and rural reach, which we were not at the same level in the past. To get consumers who were not purchasers of Goodnight or Hit, there are quite a large number of them, 100 million is our estimation, to be aware that now these products exist and are accessible at a price that they will find convenient.
How significant is the insecticide repellent business for GCPL?
It's a large business for us. A large category, it's about 6,500 crores. It's a large category in India. And we have a very large share of that category. We're more than half that category. So,
since you're focusing on market development, do these supply chain issues and, in general, global economic factors, the whole, disruption when it comes to tech space, is it impacting your marketing plans? Are you reevaluating your marketing strategies in certain way, considering that also for a product like this, you are thinking of growing the market. So you need to have sizable amount of budgets in hand when it comes to marketing.
No, certainly. I mean, we continue to invest heavily in advertising and media, and we remain committed to building the access because these products will not grow unless we are able to improve our ability to reach those consumers well. So in those sense, the investments beyond marketing, particularly in insecticides, will continue to be made. As technology improves and certain media becomes more accessible than others in terms of both its scale and its pricing. So many parts of rural, we've discovered that rural digital is larger than TV in certain cases in driving reach. So we kind of follow scale and we follow pricing with our marketing investments. So as technology develops and as markets evolve, we will keep staying in pace with those opportunities there.
Product like this, which is taking an insecticide repellent to smaller income households, or an ad by Synthol that reflects the aspirations of women of today. very different from the kind of advertising that we have seen from GCPL in the past. So are you moving towards, reaching out to more Bharat, more India per se?
I think it comes down to insight. So, for example, in Synthol, there's a history of fine advertising, and brands evolve with consumers. So, Synthol is a great case of a brand which for 70 years, in fact its 70th year this year, has been able to keep pace with how consumers have changed. So, started off with a lot of male colonic type advertising, which some of it is quite iconic, with Vinod Khanna and then Shah Rukh Khan after that. And then in this Indian South, what we've realized is, consumers tend to share soaps. It's not just a male soap in the house or a female soap in the house. Consumers tend to share soaps in the house. Is what are those insights in cleansing and with women in general that we can unlock to make this brand even stronger, more loved, more memorable. And similarly in the case of insecticides as well. I mean, a recent advertising on Good Night, which is on sleep, is actually how the brand was for many, many years in the past. This brand, I mean, it's in the name, Good Night. It was built on a good night's sleep. So I think it's more about just keeping in pace with what is the fundamental memory structure of these brands. In Synthol's case, it's confidence. In the past, it was Vinod Khanna on a horse. Today, it's about a woman who changes society by boldly becoming a collector and taking on a job which many women weren't doing in the past. That's the reality today. So it's about holding the core values of the brand, but adopting them to really exciting advertising ideas and insights that makes them loved and
yeah, but you get the shift that I am hinting at, right? Like we are used to seeing like a Synthol or a Good Night in a particular manner. Good Night was showcased in like a nicely done, polished home, and now you're taking it to lower income households. So there is a shift, there's a clear shift that is seen from an observer's point of view, from an outsider's perspective.
Yeah, I mean the expansion of the segment and the to lower income households is indeed intentional, and the insights that ring true to those households. So price and the usage of these products in a certain way is an insight there. But what it won't change is the fundamental promise the brand makes, and what we're very clear about is these are consumers who are aware of Good Night and Hit. They've heard of it before. So the promise that Good Night offers, which is a good night's sleep, and that Hit offers, which is an instant mosquito kill, those promises will not be diluted.
Sure. Thank you so much. Thanks for sharing these insights with us, Ashwin.
Thanks, Shivani. Great talking to you.
It is time for a short break. On the other side, we have Shubhranshu Singh, Vice President, Marketing, Domestic and IB Tata Motors. And we also have this week's notice board. Welcome back, you're watching Storyboard. How do you make marketing commercial vehicles exciting and transformational? How do you bring a B2C approach to B2B marketing and disrupt the category codes? Telling us about the key points in Tata Motors' strategy to overhaul and transform how commercial vehicles are marketed in India, we have Shubhranshu Singh, Vice President Marketing, Domestic and IB Tata Motors, in a conversation with Dilshad Irani. Singh sheds light on how the auto major is driving change, digital transformation and creativity in the category.
Hello and welcome to Storyboard18, Shubhranshu. I'm delighted to have you on the show.
Thank you, Dilshad. Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
I'm going to kick off by asking you straight up, essentially, what are the key points in your strategy in terms of marketing commercial vehicles?
Our strategy is to strengthen the mother brand and make sure each of the respective power brands within the portfolio contribute back to our brand equity. And also to make sure that there are commonalities which are apparent to consumers. Whether it be in the area of quality, cutting edge innovation, servicing the requirements of consumers, accessibility. These are things we want very strongly tied to our brand proposition. And of course, our endeavor is to increase both the mental and the physical availability. So in the last year and a half, we have made very concerted efforts to reach our consumers digitally, try and get a more vibrant social community going, and also to increasingly digitalize our business, both in terms of the accessibility as well as the richness of data and the envelope of services that we can bring purely digitally.
Can you share with us perhaps an example of a marketing initiative that truly exemplifies, the strategies that you're putting in action, and also the direction in which you think marketing and marketing initiatives should go in for you in the future?
Sure. So in the last year, in fact, as recently as September of last calendar year, we did 2 mega launches. One was across the portfolio for trucks. We had as many as 14 launches on the day. And then subsequently at the end of the month, we did a launch in Hyderabad for our pickups range. Firstly, a lot of the pre-launch understanding was developed through consumer insight building, meeting real consumers, also rejecters of our brand, also intenders and those who adore other brands, so that we are able to give our campaign many more legs. Secondly, we did a broadcast. So we did a hybrid launch. It was a physical launch, but we also did broadcast, and we publicized that broadcast. So we get many different stakeholders into the mix. It's not only about the fleet owners and the vehicle buyers, but also financiers, our own dealers, our vendor partners, and so on and so forth. And then critically, we have experimented throughout this year with influencers, national influencers, micro and nano influencers, carrying our messages in local languages, and trying to do that with the context of that specific city, that particular district, that given taluka. Now, what that helps to build is relational familiarity. So if I'm talking about carriage of fisheries products, and I'm talking to shrimp farmers in coastal Andhra Pradesh, if I'm talking to them, in their tongue, if I'm talking to them in Telugu, if the influencer who's talking to them has been there, done that, and if I'm able to give enough testimonials for people like them, then it just builds a richness of texture. So it gets picked up and digested that much easier.
Tell me about sort of the switch that had to happen. What are the perhaps a few challenges to making that switch at Tata Motors, and especially when it comes to commercial vehicles, when you switch to a more of a B2C approach to how you sort of market your brands and vehicles in the commercial segment?
My submission is that there is not a vast difference between the way in which a brand ought to be built for business to business marketing versus a business to consumer marketing. You see, the thinking behind B2B, stereotypical thinking around it is that these are rational consumers, they are experts, they have been there, done that. So if you're buying industrial chemicals or machinery or components and so on, the brand has a subsidiary role to play. But if you go back to the basics of what a brand stands for, right, to create a memory structure, to be viably differentiated, to stand for a promise, to be a hallmark and a sign of quality. All of these things are, in fact, more applicable in B2B than perhaps even in B2C. Secondly, the way in which the brand plays out in a business to business environment has many more stakeholders, whether it is regulatory agencies, finance partners, service partners, manufacturing partners, and so on. So we are addressing the brand as a bearer of many more inputs than just a consumer packaged kind of a goods environment. Last but not the least, you will see this duality. If you talk of some of the most powerful brands in the world, whether it's a Microsoft or an Intel or an IBM or a SAP, all of the, or Dow or 3M or DuPont, all of these are powerfully B2C, but also in terms of revenues and profitability, substantively B2B. And in many parts of our portfolio, we have all three models. So for example, the small commercial vehicles business, which is it's the largest volume business in our portfolio. There, the choices are very B2C for the most part, and the largest number of vehicles on the road are owned by first-time users, so they are driver entrepreneurs. If you go up the chain, when we're talking to key accounts, they are humongous corporations in their own rights. So that follows a B2B and a more CRM-oriented modality.
Well, thank you so much for your time. It was great chatting with you.
Thank you, Dilshad.
And now it's time for this week's notice board. Jio Cinema kicked off its Tata IPL campaign titled Digital India Ka Digital Tata IPL, starring cricketers MS Dhoni and Surya Kumar Yadav. The core idea of the campaign was to excite viewers about catching the tournament for free on Jio Cinema and showcases some of the numerous features such as 4K streaming, 12 languages, 17 unique feeds, multicam presentation, interactivity through stats pack and play along feature that fans will be able to access only via digital. Let's take a look.
क्या कर रहे हो यार? चक्कर आ रहा है। हमको भी आ रहा भैया। यही मिलेगा। पक्का यही मिलेगा। तुझे अल्टीमेट आनंद। मनोरंजन फुल मनोरंजन नंबर 1 डिजिटल दर्शन। यह मनोरंजन फुल मनोरंजन नंबर 1 डिजिटल।
अब जाओ बे, देखो अपना टाटा आईपीएल।
देख तो रहे हैं डिजिटल टाटा आईपीएल।
With that, it's a wrap on Storyboard this week. You can catch all of our content on Facebook, Twitter and YouTube. Thanks for watching. We will be back same time next week. See you soon.